Welcome to our virtual meeting for the Southend Water Main project we're calling the SWIM project. It is September 17th at noon. This is a project meeting about a Charlotte Water City, Charlotte project about a water main. So if you are in the wrong WebEx meeting room, feel free to leave at this moment. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about a water pipe. And just as a quick reminder, this actually is going to be recorded and posted to the website. So just sort of an FYI there. Okay, next slide. Katie, my colleague, is going to be our meeting moderator, so she's going to be monitoring the questions in the chat box on the right there. So if you have a question, feel free to post that in there, and we will have a Q&A section on the website, and/or we'll address it today during this presentation. And then that website that I just mentioned is our project website is www.charlotteswim.com. So that's charlotteswm.com. And this presentation and video will all be posted there, as well as other product information. So it's a good place to go initially to get more information or see any questions you may have answered. Quick overview of what we're going to talk about today. I'll introduce my project team. We'll talk a little bit about what this project means and what it's going to be, the schedule, what the impacts will be, talk a little bit about traffic, and then some additional resources, and then we'll have a little moment for Q&A, and then lastly, there'll be a contacts page that lists, who to call when you're having issues. So this is a special kind of project that we're doing. It's called a design build project. So we have our contractor and our consultant all working together as a single team, along with our Charlotte Water staff, to build this new pipeline. Because of its complexity and degree of difficulty in its location, we went with this method a little bit more collaborative to help us, identify obstacles and overcome them a little bit better. So we understand this project's going to be difficult for everyone involved, including the public, and so that's why we decided to do this slightly different method of building this project to try to hopefully overcome any problems and other challenges we know we're going to encounter. So my name is Will. I'm the actual project manager for Charlotte Water, overseeing this project. Steve Price is our contractor lead, actually putting the pipe in the ground, and then Rob Bernard is our lead on the design consultant side of the equation there. And then lastly, we additionally have a city inspector in Keith Hunter who works with Black and Beach. Real quick overview. So we're putting in a new pipeline essentially down South Boulevard. The northern boundary is up there in Dilworth at Worthington Avenue. And then the southern boundary is down at Scaly Bark, where we're going to tie in. So there's two big water lines at Scaly Bark and at Worthington, and we're going to tie this new line in to help essentially transmit large amounts of water between those other two large pipelines. Starting in the south, we're going to move north, basically trying to address some aging infrastructure needs and just some additional capacity needs. So if anyone's familiar with this part of town, it is experiencing rapid growth, a lot of it due to transit-oriented development and the light rail. But additionally, it's one of the oldest parts of the city of Charlotte. So some of these lines are really old, and we're in effect going to be replacing them so that we can have more water coming to this area. Currently, there's a 12-inch water main that runs down South Boulevard. So, it's roughly this big, and we're going to replace it with a 24-inch water line. So it's going to be twice the diameter, which is actually going to allow us to transmit 4 times as much water through this part of town. So we get an extra benefit there. Although it may seem like we're just starting this project because you're just now seeing the construction piece happening, it's actually been kind of a long road to get here. We've been doing background work for about a year now, a lot of preliminary field work and understanding what's going on and permitting and design to get us to the point now where we're actually getting ready to actually put pipe in the ground with an intended completion date sometime in spring of 2022. Here's just a quick breakdown of the construction schedule, and we're going to be doing this project in phases. Rather than try to close the entire length of the project and have a single lane between Scaly Bark and Worthington, we've broken it up into a lot of smaller pieces to try to ease some of the traffic congestion. So for the most part, our first phase is going to be between Scaly Bark and Clanton. We're hoping to finish that up early next year. get all those tie-ins to all the businesses along that stretch. And we're just going to be in the northbound side of South Boulevard where it splits on either side of the light rail. And then after that, we'll move north of there to continue on and a lot of other small sections, again, working our way north all the way up to Worthington. What you're going to see out there, and especially if you've been out there this week, you'll see the barrier wall has gone in. It's on the dotted line of the northern bound 2 lanes on South Boulevard. And so our construction zone is going to be on the inside of that barrier wall in between the light rail and the northbound lane that's still open. But for the most part, what you're going to notice is that we're going to only have a single lane open. And you'll see some prep work and cleanup work early in the day and late at night, or later in the night, like around 7 p.m. 7 a.m. in the morning, then they'll start sort of getting ready, and then 7 p.m. they'll be wrapping up. But for the most part, the bulk of the activity you'll see between the hours of 8 and 5, Monday through Friday. We don't currently have any plans on working on any weekends, but it's somewhat weather dependent. So if we get behind schedule, these hurricanes keep coming, then we might have to shift some of that schedule a little bit. Here's a picture I took on Monday looking north. You can see the beginning of that cone line there, and then the barrier wall was going in. This is actually right there near the intersection of South Boulevard and Scaly Bark. For the most part, there will be some temporary water outages once we begin to actually do the service tie-ins at roughly the beginning of next year. But there will be plenty of notice provided for that, and the accommodations made if need be. You'll also see, aside from our large work zones, you may see some temporary lane closures, some smaller type activities. After we move forward with our phasing, we're moving north, we might have to come back and do some small work, but that would just be daily type lane closures. So I mentioned this a couple times, and this is, it's good to reiterate anyway. We are working in phases. So if you look at this map, right, this first phase is going to be between Scaly Bark and Clanton. I believe the next phase is going to be something like Clanton to before Greystone, and then we'll keep moving north like that in little small increments to hopefully close as little of the road as possible while still allowing us to get the line built, activated and functional, and then paved over, and then we'll move forward so that we're closing down as little South Boulevard as possible as we build this project. What you'll see out there, for the most part, we're digging the trench. So with that comes the trench box. So there on the left, it's called a trench box. It's a safety device. It allows construction workers to be down in the ditch working to keep them safe from the sides of the dirt there falling on them. It's a common thing. You'll see that trench box move northward as we go, and typically wherever you see the trench box, that's where our workers are for the day, putting the pipe actually down in the ground. And as you'll see like a big Komatsu type backhoe there, like in the middle picture, digging the trench itself and moving the trench box and moving materials in and out. And then lastly, you kind of see on the picture on the right there, you see the pipe actually down in the ground. So that's what you'll see, like down in the ground. You can see the barrier wall on either side of the construction site as well. That's what you'll see, a lot of barrier wall to keep our workers safe over there from cars driving up and down South Boulevard. So this is going to be, of course, the big issue is, how do you get from somewhere south of Scaly Bark to uptown during this project? And if you absolutely must still drive down South Boulevard, then you're just going to need to expect delays, unfortunately. We don't have much choice for where this pipeline can go. It has to go in the road. Now, if you can, there's alternative routes such as South Tryon, which for the most part gets you to uptown as well and is a whole lot less congested. I-77 can be less or more congested depending on the day. But then also, we've been working closely with CATS and with CDOT to try to figure out, how we can get people to ride the light rail a little bit more. It's, a little bit underutilized, so the light rail is always a good option, and or, South Tryon or any other options. We're continuing to work really closely with those other departments to try to figure out how to ease the difficulty of commuting to uptown during this project. Additionally, if you have more questions or just want to know more information, we have a project website. Right now it's charlotteswim.com. And we continue to post information updates. I try to get updated pictures there on a regular basis so people can see what's going on with the product and how we're progressing. If you have questions, you can email this common email address, this info@charlotteswim.com. And we have a group of people who are monitoring that email address so we can get back to you with the answers about what's going on. We've actually had a few questions come in already. And then typically, those questions, we'll go ahead and post them to the website as well. We're slowly building an FAQ so that the information is available. So feel free to monitor that. And then lastly, and hopefully some of y'all actually came to this meeting because of this, but we have a text messaging alert system as well. So if you text Southend Water to 31996, then we will send you periodic just updates about what's going on and or alternative traffic options and traffic. If there's heavy traffic delays, we might notify y'all that as well. And then of course this is going to hopefully be a recurring meeting, so we will send you text updates about when the next meeting is going to be. Are there any questions at this point? I think Katie might come on. Katie, can you see if there's any questions in the question box?
It looks like at this time we haven't received any questions. Since we have time, and we may want to wait 1 or 2 minutes in case anyone wants to type a question in the Q&A box, which is located to the right of the presentation. So we can give everyone a minute or two, just in case there's...
Oh, 1 minute. We got a question from Jewel over at Carvana. So for the most part, we're going to go ahead and do the actual full construction of the pipeline all the way up to Clanton before we start doing any of the connection tie-ins. And then once we activate that line, once we've tested that line, make sure that all the water in that line is good, and start doing the activations, then we'll start reaching out to all the businesses and determine when we're going to do their outage. So but that won't happen until like January, February, and that outage would be a short water outage. But we can definitely, we can discuss that. In some instances, we might just do those connections at night as well to avoid interruptions to the businesses. Thank you for that question, Bill.
Great. Maybe we'll wait maybe 1 more minute and see if there was anything else.
There's 17 people on the call, so.
Of course. Of course, like Will mentioned, there's many ways to reach out to the project team. So if questions come up after the fact, our team's always available to answer those.
I'm going to go ahead and just talk about that real fast while we're waiting on potentially any more questions. So I mentioned the email address, the info@charlotteswim.com. That's the best way. It's the best first step to try to reach out to us. There's multiple people monitoring that email address. So it's most likely you'll get a thorough answer quickly through that. If there's an immediate larger need, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Will. And that's my phone number right there, my email address. And then lastly, if you're having like an on-the-spot emergency out there on South Boulevard, then you're going to want to head and reach out to Keith Hunter. And that's his email and his phone number right there. And this will all be posted to the website. And it also should be on our project sign, which will be out there somewhere. I'm not sure the exact location just yet, but that'll all be available again. It doesn't appear as though there are any more questions, so I think we're going to wrap it up. Katie?
Yes, I agree. I don't think we have any other questions, but of course people can reach out. So if you want to go ahead and close out the meeting, thank everyone for coming.
Y'all stay dry. Have a good day.